Hello and welcome to the KPI Institute's webinar, How to Get Internal Buy-in from Stakeholders During the Implementation of a Performance Management System. My name is Andrea Costa and I will be your host for today, along with our presenter, Andrea Minelli, and our guest for this episode, Ms. Nur Isnita Ibrahim. This webinar is part of a series of free educational materials that aim to enhance the knowledge and know-how of those interested, while also creating a bridge between us as a company and you, our public. The KPI Institute is a research organization specialized in business performance. It operates research programs in 12 practice domains, each linked to a certification course, ranging from strategy and KPIs to employee performance, and from customer service to innovation performance. Today, 15 years after the KPI Institute was created, we can proudly say that our products and services have reached professionals on 5 continents and that our public comprises a worldwide community of over 100,000 members online and 30,000 registered companies on smartkpis.com. In the following episode, Andrea Minelli and Nur Isnita Ibrahim will describe how to receive and achieve and get internal buy-in from the stakeholders of an organization during the crucial implementation moments of a performance management system. This presentation will be delivered by Andrea Minelli, the Head of Professional Services for our Southeast Asian branch. Andrea is a researcher, facilitator, consultant, and practitioner experienced in the deployment and implementation of performance management frameworks. Joining him will be Ms. Nur Isnita Ibrahim, Head of Performance Planning at KLCC Property Holdings. Ms. Isnita is a highly motivated and goal-oriented professional with a background in strategic and corporate planning. From reviewing strategic plans and performance drivers to developing feasibility studies and coordinating business budget cycle processes, Ms. Isnita focuses on organizational growth and sustainability. This presentation lasts approximately 30 to 40 minutes. Please feel free to ask any questions you might have during the webinar, as they will be answered at the end of the presentation in our Q&A session. Enjoy the KPI Institute's webinar, How to Get Internal Buy-in from Stakeholders During the Implementation of a Performance Management System. Now, I would like to invite Andrea to begin his presentation.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, according to your time zone. And welcome to our third episode of this month of Performance Management webinar series. I am very pleased to have this third event with you today. And I'm even more pleased that this time I'm not alone. I will be accompanied by Ms. Isnita. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi,
and good evening
yes.
to you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Hope you guys is also good.
Totally, yes. I'm very pleased that you're here with us today.
Yes.
And I have to say, this is definitely one of the most interesting topic out of the 5 that we have been covering and we're going to cover in the next few weeks. Because I have to say, especially from my own point of view, being able to secure that buy-in is not an easy feat. And today we are very lucky to have, of course, Mrs. Nita with us, that through her decade-long experience, she's going to be able to share with us her insights, her point of view, her perspectives into such a delicate, but especially crucial aspect that is compulsory, when we are involved in the implementation of a performance management system. I'm talking to our audience right now, and as you know, this is, we're doing and we're using Zoom, so please feel free to interact with us as much as possible, because any inquiry or question, we will be answering it at the end of this session through our Q&A session. So please take your time and enjoy the upcoming minutes with us. But if you have any inquiry or anything related to what we are discussing, please share your thoughts and insights in the chat and we will take care of it. Now, today's episode 3, as I was mentioning you, and we are going to talk about buy-in. Be able to have the support of our employees, of our internal stakeholders, when we are in the process of designing and implementing an overall performance management system. So there is a word that I think is extremely important, and we will be mentioning for a while, I think in the next half an hour or so, and that is performance culture. Being able to have that culture-oriented, let's say, perspective within an organization that can facilitate the implementation of the overall system. Before we go into the details, I wanted to ask to Mrs. Nita, ma'am, what do you think overall, if I say performance culture, where is your mind going? Because every time I ask this question, we can really go in different directions and in different ways. Where do you stand in this?
Yeah, for me is performance culture. It depends. For me, performance culture is actually alignment. It's aligned. The communication is very well, and then it's clear. The clear vision and mission, and then the communications alignment. That is the performance culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Totally. You said two words, alignment and clear vision and mission. Well, those are in the same topics that we have discussed also last week. And in the first episode, when we were discussing, let's say, the main components of the performance management system, which includes, of course, the clear vision and mission, which might sound easy if you simply say, well, I want my employees to have a clear understanding of who we are. But that might be a bit more complicated than it sounds, because we have to transmit the message, right, ma'am?
Yes.
In a very important way, yes. Well, what I want to tell you is, actually to every one of you, is a little bit of a quick question that I want to launch with you. It's a very small poll, okay? I want to launch the poll in a few seconds from now. I want to read you the question. How often are employees' performance review meetings offered or scheduled within your organization? So I'm asking to our audience, I'm going to launch the poll very, very soon to actually answer this question and to try to, of course, link it back to your own context, to your own organizational contexts, okay? So I will be launching the actual poll right away, right now. It's right here. So I'm going to launch it, and I'm going to give you a few moments for every one of you to actually answer. You should receive a notification on your screen. So, okay, I already see someone answering the question. Very good. So I'm going to wait a bit of time to see.
Yeah, submitted already.
Yes, they are. You see? Yes. Okay. We can see some general, let's say, preference for a particular answer. Right, Mrs. Nita, we're seeing it right there, right? Yes. Okay. Just gonna wait for a little bit more to have everyone on board. Yes. So a few seconds, and then we can end this poll. Any latecomers, if you want to answer? Okay, let me have a look. Let me close the poll right away. Let's have a look. So, let me share the result with everyone. I hope that everyone is able to see my screen. Well, biannually, 50%. Annually, 30%. Quarterly, 10%. And monthly, 10%. So it seems that the biannual had the one with the highest, let's say, answer. In your context, Ms. Isnita, if we're talking about employee performance review, which I reckon those are official and unofficial meetings where there is an individual assessment of performance, how often? Is there a particular time frame for you?
Mine is biannually. It's actually usually half year and also year-end review. So during half year, we will allow them to mitigation, to do all the mitigations, to discuss back, to review back all the plan. If you want to change, that is the time for you to change, but subject to the agreement. your bosses, and year-end review is the ultimate final results.
Of course. So these such meetings, I imagine, to occur between the employee and her supervisors, right? It's in a face-to-face context,
correct.
right? Okay, good. Generally, I have received such a question in all of these years of getting involved in trainings and projects, and they keep on asking me, Andrea, do we have a perfect optimum timeline to conduct such performance review meetings, especially when we are referring to individual? Well, the answer is that we might not have like a specific number, but definitely something that range between a quarter to a biannual assessment is definitely something that is very, let's say, envisioned and encouraged. There is no doubt that when it comes to performance culture, there has been a tendency, and I actually want to share with you some results from a recent survey that we did about the fact that there is a tendency to accept quarterly, even monthly, even on the spot assessment, trying to make this process as smooth as possible. Because at the end of the day, what we need is to kind of sustain such a performance culture in our organizations. You know? So thank you very much for answering our poll, first and foremost. What I want to show you now is actually a very simple question, but very crucial, okay? Why do we need performance-driven culture in our organization? Personally, what I think is, I put some keywords here, you see, delineates the framework, simplifies the implementations of a performance architecture, disseminate knowledge and learning, influence employee engagement, or align everyone's contribution to the corporate strategy. Those, I think, are crucial, let's say, bullet points that do pertain to the ideal context of why should we invest in performance culture. But I want to take advantage of having Mrs. Nita here to have also, of course, your perspective. What do you think is the performance culture? Why do we need it?
I guess it's actually when we have this performance-driven culture, so basically we tend to have strong employee engagement. So people tend to believe and people tend to trust. That is performance-driven culture. When they trust, they manage to get the result what they want. So meaning when we share the same goal, the communications is good, and then everyone is driven by the performance. So all good. The result will be good.
Mm-hmm. So can we say that maybe potentially as we get the trust, this is also linked to engagement and potentially productivity, pleasure, happiness in the workplace? Can we make such a connection potentially?
Yes, correct.
Good. I'm very pleased,
even it's actually in my company, we have these so-called Petronas cultural beliefs. We have these 6 elements of Petronas cultural beliefs, and one of it is actually nurture trust. We always keep my promise, and we always need to build mutual trust within us, within the company. So for me, trust is important to drive performance culture.
And can I ask you, out of the curiosity for me and our participants, how do you think you were able to disseminate, these important message in the organization?
Important message, you mean?
Yes, these 6 core values that you were just mentioning, right? So they were disseminated as a message in the organization for people to embrace, right?
Yeah. Well, when we disseminate this Petronas cultural belief, what we do is we get everyone to actually get to know it and then understand exactly, let's say when I said nurture trust, what you need to do. When I said result matter, what you need to do. What does it mean? The meaning behind each of the components itself. So when each and every one of us understand and we communicate, and the heads of company actually need to show that he is actually embraced, the GMs need to show that they are actually embraced, then I think the rest of the company, the employee will also follow. So that is what we do here lah.
Totally. So we set a message. We set a very clear message that everyone should be able to follow to contribute to this overall performance-driven culture. So I mean, it's definitely very interesting. There is been situations that I've been involved where which is linked to the question that I was asking you a minute ago about how can we disseminate the message, right? How can we make sure that people understand and embrace? I do believe that especially now, or maybe in the last decade or so, where we are so, helped by any technology-related matter or any technology-related channel, it's quite on the easier side to be able to spread a particular message. It can be a newsletter, it can be a poster on the wall next to the leaf.
Of course, we have all that.
Every single day, right? Exactly. So
yes.
It can be so many different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, it is in our desktop. Each and every one of us will have this teaser in our desktop with that 6 component in front of our door. It's all that.
So you can't really forget about them because they're there. They should be there embedded, to make sure that we have this, can we say mindset potential? That's the word that I think that we're looking for, right? And linked to this, I want to share with you, of course, and with our audience, because I was always thinking, do we have some attributes of performance culture? And I do remember that 1.5 years ago, we did conduct a research here internally at the KPI Institute. And it was exactly about employee performance engagement linked to the performance culture. And I remember that one of the most important, let's say, results from that research that we conducted among more than 10,000 employees that were, let's say, involved in such a research, some of the results are right here in front of you. So every one of you as an audience, you see, embracing a change mindset, shared vision and empowerment to take decisions, develop and propagate coaching mindset. You see, those I do believe that are definitely very crucial components. And I'm sure, Mrs. Nil, that as you read them, some of them you can, or maybe even most of them, can be related to your own context and experience potentially.
Yeah. Actually, to change mindset is not easy. But once you manage to change the mindset, everything is just like very much, there's nothing you cannot do, I can say.
Right.
Because when you change mindset, you start not to blame others. So you'll be ready to accept the new challenges at work. So I guess when you're ready to accept, so you are actually ready to change. That's it.
So it's such a, let's say, painful, in brackets, process to get through. But once we manage to make, right, that it feels like the biggest challenge has been, let's say, passed. So we can actually benefit from it, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
I wanted also to share with every one of you something that personal to me that I've been noticing in these few years of engagement with our clients all over the world. And I've noticed that as part of this performance-driven culture, I felt that participants and people and employees, doesn't matter the hierarchy, the top managers or the junior analyst, I did notice that the need to be involved, to be heard, to be consulted when taking decision is also a very important push to make sure that there is an overall support towards this performance management system. Because I reckon it's very difficult to support something that you are 100% involved and that you maybe not fully understand, right? We have to make the message clear and we have to involve our stakeholders in the development, in the design of such an architecture that we can call, let's say, performance management architecture. Have you ever felt something like this? The need to involve everyone in a kind of empowering decision-making with everyone involved in the discussion?
Yeah. Like me, because my internal stakeholder is not just the employee, but it's also the top management. what I did is actually I will always listen and understand what is the issue, and then if I am actually at their shoes, what exactly that I will feel, and then after that I will give feedback and I will try to coach. And I is for my staff example, I will not just uh, do for them, but I will coach them. I coach through trying to help them to find solutions. It's not me doing all the problem. I mean, settle all the problem. No, that is how I did.
Well, and that's definitely, I think, the approach to go. So, as you just mentioned, coaching mindset, being able to adapt and involve everyone in the decision making. I have a similar context to you, like the one you just mentioned. When it comes to selections of indicators, we can call them key performance indicators, right? Most organizations are using them, and they've been there for quite a while. And I did notice that as a crucial component of the performance-driven culture, being able to have our stakeholders, our employees involved in the selection of indicators that eventually they will need to be measured upon, that they will be, say, be assessed upon, can facilitate the actual, and allow me to say the word digestion, right? Digestion of the overall system, right? That can also be a potential, let's say, attribute to drive towards a performance-driven culture, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
I reckon this is very, very important. Personally, I found it very, very crucial in the overall assessment. And speaking of which, I want to ask to our audience as well, because they're here with us. In your own context, you can simply reply in the chat whenever you can during the session. When involved in this overall performance-driven culture or creating this performance-driven culture in your organization, what were the main challenges that you have faced? So this is a question to you, to our audience. You can type down your answer in the chat, and I will have a look with Ms. Isnita later at the end of the session. So please feel free to write down your main, let's say, comments about this. So the main challenge is linked to the performance-driven culture, creating this performance management system. Thank you, in the meantime. What I wanted to share with you, it's something that maybe people will relate, and it's right here. We did, as I was telling you, an important survey at the end of 2018, and we asked, as I was telling to all of these employees that were part of our, let's say, survey, if they could comment, what is the overall reception or perception of performance management within their organization? And these 5 answers are the main, let's say, answers, or the top 5 that were answered during the actual survey. You see, discontent, outcomes, poor focus on outcomes and financial results, lack of clarity, dissatisfaction overall from the employee's side, negative correlations between strategy and KPIs. Mrs. Nita, is this familiar? Have you been exposed to something like this before in your years of experience? Because I have been.
Especially the lack of clarity, because sometimes the communication is not basically they did not receive the right message from the top, and then negative, I can say that negative correlations lah. And then pure focus on outcomes and financial result. Towards the end, they say that, how about my effort? The result is not good, but I did all, which is not aligned. Also, something like that. It's actually, this is the thing lah.
Yes, of course. Of course. Can I ask you, if you don't mind, when you say lack of clarity, right? Clarity in terms of what? Because I will also answer my own question later, but I'm curious to see your side of the story. Lack of clarity in terms of...
Okay, as I said, the message given. Let's say the message okay. from because the cycle of this performance management will start with the growth strategy of the year, right? Then when the approved strategy of the year, when the bosses is not clearly stated what is actually towards the end you want to achieve, then but the downliners is doing something else, so it's not aligned. The message is not the same. The message is not going down, so it's not aligned. So suddenly the result is not there. You know, then when you say I have done so much everything, but you have done some which is not according to my preference, expectations. Yes. So that is actually lack of clarity. It's not clear. The target is not clear. The apparently after that the result is not happening lah.
Yes, I do remember an instance that I was involved with that was basically, well, I was involved in the entire overall implementation. I was talking to individual employees and they were telling me, well, I did my part, Andrea. I achieved what I was supposed to achieve. But in the moment we were looking at kind of a departmental result, the result was already there. So things couldn't really add up at the end of the day because from the employee side, the job was done, but from a departmental perspective, it was not really. And this has happened a few times. So this led me to think, okay, there is definitely negative correlation. There is not real clarity, and we are misaligning ourselves, right? So this is something that we should definitely avoid. You know, we should definitely avoid. Be able to grasp everyone's contribution and making sure that everyone's contribution is actually leading to the result that we want, right? Which is very important. I wanted to ask you, Mrs. Nita, from the general discontent and unhappiness, have you ever been exposed to maybe someone telling you, well, I'm not pleased with the overall system, or there is something that I do not understand, or there is lack of, clarity in the informations? You know, have you ever been directly told such information?
Of course. But that's why we need to have a proper framework. When we have framework, when we already set up the strategy target, everything. So even though probably they are not unhappy, but that is what it is. So if actually they unhappy because they're not achieving their target, it's their fault for me. But if they are actually unhappy because there is misalignment or there is miscommunication, that is something that we need to change lah. There's something that we need to improve.
Everyone's perspective, absolutely. Yeah. And in fact, what you just mentioned now, we need a sound architecture, a sound performance system, right? Here.
Yes,
so,
correct.
As I put the pitfalls, right? What it led to that result? Lack of alignment, lack of proper customized tailor-fit system, which is linked to the alignment again among employees, departments. Sometimes it could also be an issue of poorly chosen KPIs, you know, and it is linked to what we were discussing 5 minutes ago, that in the moment we select what really matters as an indicator, we should be able to have everyone's input in any way or another, you know, through a workshop or not a workshop, through an online assessment. We have to have everyone's contribution, because that can make an impact in the perceptions of performance management from the employee side, I reckon, you know. And there are two things that I found particularly, let's say, alarming, but I mean, it's a good that we're discussing about it. And it's resistance to change and no proper sense of accountability. That is definitely something that I have witnessed, I have seen and experienced in my own skin when I was fully involved in designing and, of course, obtaining such a buy-in, you know. Have you also been exposed to such contexts in terms of resistance or maybe lack of understanding or even accountability-wise?
Yeah. This is, of course, like most of the company will facing this, especially when we have like our population in each year is actually mix of those within the 50s, those millennial, those Gen Y, Gen Z. So these Gen Y, Gen Z, and millennials have different way of work. Sometimes they resist to change. Sometimes they are too fast. That is those things that we need to manage.
Definitely. I wanted to add to what you just said. It was a comment from one of our participants. It's Miss Broder, hello. And she was mentioning right now that there is a lack of trust between management and staff, and you just mentioned now, general mindset for activities rather than results, lack of engagement of stakeholders, poor applications of the framework. Well, those are unfortunately potential, let's say, causes that are linked, of course, to a lack of an overall PMS-driven culture, isn't it? Because these are all bullet points, or as a crucial, let's say, point of discussions that we just mentioned. You know, and I have to say, from my own side of the story, especially when it comes to resistance to change, I have been exposed a lot, and maybe also Ms. Zita, the same happened to you in your years of experience, to be, let's say, responsible of raising awareness, raising information about the system. Because what I notice sometimes is that people do not know. People are not aware of why we are designing such a system. What is the ultimate, let's say, desired state of performance, which everyone knows. We are building such a system because we want to improve ourselves, right? We measure to eventually manage. So I did find myself delivering a lot of, you can call them awareness sessions, you can call them sharing knowledge session, essentials, performance management sessions, a bit around the world, I have to say, where the purpose, at least from my side, was being able to inform people about what is about to happen, performance management wise. And did you do this well, ma'am? Something like this, be able to spread the word and ensuring that buy-in, securing that buy-in.
Yeah, for me, because my team, me and my team in the company act as a performance management secretariat. So what we need to do, we need to make sure that those message from top management cascaded down, which is correctly aligned. So what we did, we will have engagement, like yearly engagement with our executive, our manager, and also senior manager. So the GMs, we will have also. So those things, we will have a few feedbacks. So tell me session. So from that, we can, at least I can have their trust. When we get their buy-in, their trust, I guess, and when they understand that we try to understand them, we try to be on their shoes, they will work with us. Trust is really important in managing performance, trust me.
Absolutely. I trust you, definitely. And it's something that I have experienced myself as well, you know, being in the middle, you know, between as I was involved in the design and building, making the system go alive. And as our dear colleague, Ms. Broder, she was saying, a lack of trust between management and staff, that must be solved at the end of the day, isn't it? So this is something that I'm particularly pushing about. And it's linked to what we were discussing in the first episode that happened 2 weeks ago, where I was saying, well, before we start any design or implementations of the system, we have to prepare the field, okay? And when I say prepare the field, it's everything related to that change management, performance, culture-oriented activities that are crucial before the implementation and design and after, right? This is crucial. So definitely trust, engagement, clarity, those are, let's say, matters that I need to secure beforehand. Otherwise, we might be a bit of a difficult ride to get to the securization of that buy-in from our employees. I want to thank everyone in the meantime for sharing their thoughts. And please continue to share your thoughts in the chat, because we are looking at it as we discuss, and I'm able to kind of fit in our conversation everyone's input. So I really appreciate everyone is providing his or her own insights on the matter. But now, what I wanted to actually focus about is, well, do we have a framework? Is there kind of a buy-in framework around it? Is there kind of a main point of discussion? Well, the answer is yes. I put them right here. And it's linked to what we're discussing right now. Providing the line of sight. This is something that I'm always very pushing about. Informing our employees of where we are going with this system. And Mrs. Zita, I have a question, if it happened to you as well. It has been a lot of times, from a lot of instances in which, as we are designing the system, and people start to understand that there is a measurement and management component, people kind of freeze. Oh, you're going to be measuring me. We're going to be assessed. But people tend to forget that the phrase sounds like something like this. We are measuring performance, comma, in order to achieve that improved desired state of performance. But I've noticed that people, as soon as they hear we're going to measure performance, they kind of like stop listening, freeze, and they don't listen to anything else happening after the comma, Did it happen to you as well, to face this kind of resistance, fear of measurement in your own experience? Ma'am, can you hear me?
Hi. Hello.
Yes. Did you manage to listen to my question?
Oh, sorry, the line is not that clear. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, I was simply saying, again, for our audience, there has been sometimes instances in which, as I was informing in context, the measurement component will need to be used to manage, to achieve that desired improved performance level. And I notice that people tend to be a bit reluctant or a bit afraid of the measurement component first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever felt or experienced that kind of fear of measurement in your own experience?
Fear of measurement.
Yes.
So, I'm not sure. For me, there is no such thing as fear. It's either, it's fear. It's either they want it to be like that or they want to be like that. They insist it to
Here you
be.
go. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm referring to.
To be like what? They insist the measurement to actually on their side instead of it's actually fair for both sides.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I always counter with lah.
Totally agree. And I do agree that, and I also strongly assess that having the right governance throughout the entire, let's say, flow of the implementation is a crucial component as well. Because as you were mentioning before, Mrs. Nita, we have to set the message, set the example. As I was writing here, keeping communication regular, clear, constructive feedback, because everyone is involved in the overall performance management system. No one should be neglected, right?
Yes.
So I reckon that having also the right governance, which generally it can be, as in your case, kind of a performance project planning or strategic planning or performance management office. These are generally the name, or transformation office. This is their role. Making sure that the message, as you were telling me before, is smooth and translated and cascaded down in the right way without, though, forgetting the line of sight. Where is the direction, right?
Pardon?
Where is the direction, right? That's where we are going, in terms of performance management wise. As I reckon is very, very important for our audience and for our organizations at the end of the day. Again, I wanted to share with you something about the overall. I put here some key bullet points that are linked to the research that we have done. You see here, organizational identity, strategic planning involvement, multi-directional connection, recognition and accountability, PMS, performance management system as an ongoing continuous process. Those are personally what I believe are the key components or the key, let's say, solutions that would allow us to secure the buy-in. And Mrs. Nita, tell me if you disagree or not, but to me, buy-in is not something that necessarily I have to secure as I'm designing the system. buy-in must be secured throughout the overall performance management cycle, which can last 1 year or 6 months, 2 years, depending on the company, right? Because performance management, as I'm writing here, is a continuous ongoing process, right?
Right.
What do you think on this matter?
Yeah, because like us here, we have let's say early of the year is we start with setting, half year review, and year end review. So,
Yeah.
and then the trust need to start from setting. Then you can challenge and you can have the right direction. And then you need to continue to have those trusts, because when you challenge for results, there you go. Always always the employee will try to make sure that it's actually on their side. But us as a secretariat here, we always try to be fair for both the company and also the employee. So along the way, we need to make sure that the communication and the trust is intact.
Which is definitely not an easy feat, right? And it's something that I would like to link to the fact that it's an ongoing process. The message that I'm simply trying to send to every one of us right now is the fact that the performance management system is not a once-in-a-year assessment. It's an ongoing assessment. And by making it a frequent, let's say, connection or interaction with our employees, it can only facilitate the understanding from their side. And what we're talking about since the last 40 minutes, securing their buy-in, because at the end of the day, recognition and accountability by everyone is what people are actually requesting. People want to feel, recognized and feel that their contribution mattered to the overall success of an organization or of a department, right? At least personally, this is what I think. And there are different ways to secure that. And I believe that some of them could be, as Mrs. Inter was saying right now, and making sure there is a clear multi-directional communication, making sure that the message is sent and aligned along the way, And if you remember, when I asked you right at the beginning, what is performance culture? You said alignment and making sure that the vision and the mission is clear, right, Mrs. Nita?
Yes.
So it's linked to what you just said now, organizational identity. Making sure that there is an embrace of the values, of the behaviors, and of course, understanding who we are and where we are going as an organization or as a department, for instance. Those are definitely not easy components, but components that I want our audience to think about when it comes to the design and, of course, working on a daily basis, on a weekly basis with the overall performance management system of the organization. Do you want to add anything else from your own experience, from your own company perspective, Mrs. Nita, that is linked to the discussion that we're
doing? Well, I guess every company need to have their own identity. And then by having that kind of identity, they can translate that into action to all staffs. So that is so important. Like us, as I mentioned just now, us in KLCC and Petronas, we have these Petronas cultural beliefs. We have our own vision and mission. When all cleared, so we know what we aim for. So everyone is actually together to achieve that.
Totally. I think that one of the most important things that we just mentioned is translating that vision, that message into action, into objectives, right? And this is something very crucial. I'm simply linking it back for our audience for a few episodes ago when we were discussing about who we are and how do we translate who we are into something like, okay, What's the strategic direction? What are the strategic objectives that I will eventually be able to measure through, for instance, key performance indicators that I would cascade and align all the way down to our employees, you know? I wanted to add also from this side, you see here it's written strategic planning involvement. Now, people may be wondering, what do you mean? What I meant is, as I was discussing before, in all of the projects that I have been involved, I've always tried to make sure that all of the stakeholders involved, not necessarily just the project planning or the performance management systems team, but I'm also referring to all of the employees. As you know, a performance management system can be implemented at corporate level, departmental, team, division, or even individual level, right? So being able to, having been exposed to all of these different layers of implementation, I did notice, and maybe Mrs. Naki, you can also share your insights. When talking with the individual employees, I did felt that they have something to say. They have their own understanding, their own, let's say, perspective or approach for the overall organization, even strategic wise, or strategic direction. So I always try to, let's say, bring that voice a little bit up in any context, whether it was a face-to-face workshop, whether it was an online assessment of performance, whatever it was. I always try to get their perspective, their insights. Can it be similar, maybe in your context, man? Trying to get that people's perspective, let's say, a bit raised or raised up voice-wise, so people are able to know and to really understand what they're thinking?
Yeah. I think same as you, as what you said just now. It's actually when they are the information is all there, they knows what is the strategic initiative that the company aim for, so they can. It's not just, as I said, when they know everything out there, they can align with what they should, what exactly that they need to be done. So whatever jobs or tasks they need to be done is actually indirectly will help the company to achieve the results.
Totally. I mean, I couldn't agree more to that statement personally, because at the end of the day, a performance management system that we have been discussing, the key to the success are our employees. There's no other way around. This is at least my own personal perspective. There's no one else that should, we should thank in the overall when we achieve results, because an organization's core assets are the employees, without a doubt, at least from my perspective, So in terms of main, let's say, takeaways from today's session with Mrs. Nita, I do believe that having an aligned message, making sure that there is an organizational identity, which is a vision, a mission, a behavior that is embedded, it is embraced by the stakeholders, by the employees' mind, is a very good first step when trying to build that performance-driven culture, when trying to secure that, let's call it basically buy-in, right? Isn't it? And I'm not saying it's an easy, let's say, feat to achieve. It's actually quite lengthy and it's quite complicated as well, at least from the experience that I have been exposed. Again, awareness, information, disseminations of best practices, and first of all, line of sight. I do believe these are the main components that can help us achieve that desired, let's say, performance culture. At least it's from my perspective. Do you want to have any concluding remark, Mrs. Nita, if you don't mind, for our audience?
I think what I can, if this audience is actually performance management secretariat just like me, my advice, or based on my experience, is to just please listen and understand, give feedback and coach. That is actually I hold into that lah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Well, I think that listening is a great quality, and before talking, I think it's definitely something that should be embraced and should be actually, let's say, taken before we are taking actions or anything that is related to the performance management system.
Yes.
So that's something that I wanted to highlight. Thank you for that. We are open to any question that you might have. I'm going to give you a few seconds, of course, to think about any curiosity or any kind of, let's say, a comment that you want to make. As we're waiting for you, I was reading some of your statements from before, and it is linked to the frequency of the employee performance assessment. I was reading here since it's done on a monthly basis, some other situations on a quarterly basis. Well, I do think, at least from my perspective, and of course, Mrs. Nita, you can give your own point of view. Should we align the frequency of the performance review? Something like, I don't know, if at employee
Quarterly.
level, yes, exactly. If it's a quarterly level, and the division should be also
Because for me, performance review is like a dashboard that you need to review at least for me quarterly, because at least by you can acknowledge something which is not right, something that need to be done to fix things. So by having that quarterly, I believe that is good enough.
Totally. And you said you're using dashboards, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So I'm making simply a reference to last week's episode. We were discussing about, are we using scorecards or are we using dashboards? And I was a very huge supporter of scorecards and dashboards, because those two are tools that, let's say, are measuring, but we're measuring different measurements that we can call KPIs, right? So this one, which is the scorecard, is definitely more strategic, and the dashboard can be, I would say, maybe a bit more operational oriented, and I can use also a different time frame for the actual assessment and consultation of that, right? So this is something that I'm glad we are totally aligned. There was this gentleman who was saying, probably the biggest challenge, of course, is to increase staff buy-in. Exactly. Well, it is totally true. And we've been discussing in the past few moments of how we might be able to get and increase that buy-in. And as we were mentioning here, is making sure that we communicate clearly, that we listen, as Mrs. Nita was saying, that we are able to translate the message, but also be able to be from the employee's perspective. Because at the end of the day, the contribution or the company's success is achieved through the contribution of each single individual of the employees, right? So this is something that we cannot really go and play it around. It is quite crucial. Let me have a look. I was looking at other questions and statements here. Lack of understanding on PMS as a result of lack of clarity. Issues of standardization is also a challenge. Employee having challenges in differentiating objectives from initiatives. True. Well, this is something we might potentially not have discussed, but standardizing the language, I do believe, could also be let's say, a tool to secure that buy-in, And this is linked to a methodology that we have, and that I think also you and Mrs. Nita have, defining what strategic objectives are, defining what KPIs are, defining what projects or initiatives are, In your context, Mrs. Nita, are you working with strategic objective or strategic goals, KPIs, projects? What kind of terminology do you use?
Terminology?
Like, are you using balanced scorecard or dashboards, KPIs, strategic objectives?
I'm using the balance scorecard, but the general balance scorecard would have 4. Mine, I have around 7 components I call, because I'm not calling it quadrant because it's not 4. So it's actually 7. I include one is on HSC,
Yes.
health, safety, environment, and then the other one is something strategic initiatives.
Definitely.
So
So
the
those are the, let's say, sorry if I interrupted you, those are
it's
the
okay.
components of the balance score, the perspectives, right?
Yes, yes, correct.
Clear. And this is very interesting. And you see, employees might not be aware of even the terminology that we use. Even thinking, why are we including the health, safety, and the environment related aspects in our performance? So that's why we need to be able to inform our employees, making sure that they embrace and they understand. Because at least from my side, this is me personally speaking, it's very difficult to embrace or support something that I might not really understand, right? I think this is more of a human component. What do you think? It is difficult, right? It is a bit challenging to support something that I might not really clearly understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So definitely awareness, and awareness is something that it's very, very important to take into consideration. Well, from my side, Matt, is there anything else that you would like to share with our participants today before the concluding remarks?
I think I think I shared enough already. And then I think I shared most of what being practiced in my company.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thank
more
you.
or less we are using the balance scorecard. So I will make sure that the communication is intact from top management up until the executive,
Mm-hmm.
so that everyone clear on the objective and goals. That's it.
Thank you very much. I mean, this is absolutely crystal clear and very, let's say, advisable for organizations to be able to achieve that, making sure that the message is translated smoothly all the way down to our employees, to our departments, to our divisions, to our teams, you know. And I want just simply a few moments of your time to make a connections between what we've been discussing now and what we're going to discuss in the next two sessions. Because in the next two sessions, well, the topic is always the same. We're just going to take it from a different perspective. And as we need to be able to measure and send the message through, we also need to be able to select indicators that are able to be cascaded down to our employees or cascaded horizontally throughout the departments. So if you have any difficulty or curiosity linked to those, we have the next two episodes that are absolutely linked to that particular matter. So Ms. Nita, thank you so much for your participation. I just wanted to say to all of our audiences that everything that we've been discussing so far in the overall, let's say, 5 episodes of the performance management series, those are all important topics linked to business performance, of course. So what I wanted to tell you is that if you have any curiosity or inquiry, or if you require more or further information on these matters, we are kindly inviting you, we at the KPI Institute, to a series of any performance management related programs that we are here, all taken online. I want to share with you right now kind of a timeline if you are interested. As you can see, we have so many programs ranging from KPI in 4 different languages to employee performance management, which is something that we've been discussing today, to strategy and business planning, to data analysis. So all of these are our upcoming sessions that you can benefit from if you want to. You just need to send us an email or any inquiry right here in the chat, and we will be able to assist you. But above all, I want you to invite you, of course, to our next episodes that we're going to air very, very soon. The next one actually is going to happen in 3 days from now. And I just wanted to give a bit of a brief about it. It's going to be on Sunday, okay? And we're going to talk about KPIs. Mrs. Nita was telling us right now, and I fully agree with her. We have to be able to send the message through. However, when we send the message, it's also a matter of trying to be able to, let's say, measure what really matters to us as an organization. So everything that we're going to discuss about in 3 days from now would be how to make the right selection. Which KPIs matters to us, okay? What matters to us in terms of strategic objectives. So I really hope that you're gonna be able to join us in 3 days from now, this upcoming Saturday. In case you might not be able to listen to me live, we will be sending the recording as well. So you are gonna get covered because we're gonna send to you, my team and I, the material requested. Mrs. Nita, I wanted to thank you so much for your precious time and for sharing your experience and your insights with us today.
Yeah, thanks to you also for inviting me.
I'm very pleased. Thank you, thank you. And I wish also a very lovely day ahead or evening or afternoon to our audience. And we will be sending you the material as requested. And well, I wish you a lovely day ahead. Take care of you, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye, ma'am. Thank you so much, Mrs. Nita. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
The KPI Institute appreciates your interest in the webinar How to Get Internal Buy-in from Stakeholders During the Implementation of a Performance Management System. Follow our websites and our social media channels to find out more details about our next webinars when they get posted. Also, if you're interested in getting one of our certifications granted by the KPI Institute on vital areas within the performance management discipline, you can explore our scheduled courses on marketplace.kpiinstitute.org. Thank you once again for your participation. We wish you the best of performance and have a nice day.